Regular meeting of the East Point Community Schools Board of Education, May 13th, 2024 at 6:30. Please call roll.
Mr. Grunberg,
Here.
Dr. Early,
Here.
Mr. Williams here, Mr. Roscoe,
Present.
Mrs. Rayford, Mrs. Richardson,
Present.
Mrs. Grunberg.
Here.
Okay, if we could all stand. Dan will leave us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Place forth a motion to approve the agenda in its written form.
Support.
Please call the vote.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford, Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Is there a motion for consent agenda?
Make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Please call the vote.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford, Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Okay, next we have superintendent's report. Superintendent Gibson.
Yes, please. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen joining us in the audience, and for those of you watching at home. This is your superintendent's report for May 13th. We're going to keep on with our theme this year and celebrating those moments that matter. And with us today, we have Senator Veronica Kleinfeld, who I'd like to invite up to the podium, as well as our basketball coach, Sean Glover, who I'd like to invite up as well, and some gentlemen from the East Point High School basketball team. If you would join Coach Glover up at the podium, it would be our honor to then turn the microphone over to Senator Veronica Kleinfeld. Senator Kleinfeld, thank you for being here with us this evening, and thank you for asking to give the tribute out. We're very excited to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. And this is always sort of a homecoming for me. I was on the school board 22 years ago, I think is when I left, maybe even longer. It's been a long time. I wanted to do this because when my kids were in school, you know, we had a tough time with sports. My kids played soccer and we just lost game after game after game. And I don't know, some of you will remember years where the football team didn't win anything or won 1 or 2 games, and the residents still came out and still supported them. But nothing brings spirit and brings a school district alive like being able to celebrate the accomplishment of a winning team and being able to get excited and cheer and not do it just because you love your school and you love the students, but because they've worked so hard and they're doing so well, and they deserve to be recognized for the work that you put in order to make this happen. So I'm very excited, and I want to thank you very much. This is a state tribute, and it is signed by myself and the Lieutenant Governor, Garland Gilchrist, and the Governor, Gretchen Whitmer, that I wanted to present to the basketball team for winning the district championship. Thank you very much.
Excellent. So Coach Glover, would you come on up and introduce the gentlemen that have taken the time to be here tonight?
Sure.
I'm coming.
This last night game. Come on, come on. Say your name. Just say your name for him.
I'm Keen Davison.
I'm Raymond Willis.
I'm James Phillips.
And then James Phillips, stay up at the podium. Prior to the meeting, James shared with me this evening, James is a senior. Raymond and Ken, you get another year, you're both juniors. But James is a graduating senior this year. And James has received a full ride scholarship to Friendship Christian and will be attending and playing basketball for Friendship Christian. So congratulations, James. We're so proud of you. And, we look forward to celebrating you at commencement and throughout the rest of the season. And we're grateful to you and your families for taking the time to be with us here this evening. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
And thank you, Coach Glover, for being here this evening.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Veronica and gentlemen. Mr. Stock, we've got. What's that? Yep, and parents and students, if you'd like to be excused and get a picture with the senator and the tribute, you're welcome to. You're welcome to connect with the senator out in the hallway. All right, thank you guys so much for being here. Mr. Stocks, union president, is also in the audience. I did tell those basketball gentlemen that they might be able to get extra credit for coming to a board meeting, so I don't know, maybe we could work that out. I would like to say a special thank you to our teachers and our amazing staff. For those of you that know, last week, the sound is working in the board meeting, but last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and we sent this short video out to celebrate our staff. So thank you to Caitlin Keenitz, Communications and Marketing Specialist, who helped put that together. And a big thank you to all of our staff for everything that they did. Apparently, we're going to watch it a second time. Pre-K visit to kindergarten. Our ELC preschoolers are starting their transition into the kindergarten classroom. And so the ELC worked with Forest Park and Crescentwood Elementary Schools, where they met the teachers, toured the schools, and did activities with the current kindergarten students. Decision Day, the class of 2024 had their Decision Day earlier this month, where they announced their post-graduation plans. Some of our students will be attending colleges here in the state of Michigan, including Oakland University and SVSU. Others are planning to go far from home, including one student heading off to Howard University and another to film school in California. And still others are announcing their plans to pursue certification in the trades, including HVAC and trucking. Congratulations to our Decision Day students. Here's an interesting celebration. 2 of our East Point High School seniors exited WIDA this year, which is the proficiency test for English language learners in our schools. Congratulations to Reagan Ho and Asain Lowe, who have both passed out. That means they have proficiency in the English-speaking language. It's incredibly difficult for students to exit the WIDA testing, and here they are pictured with our ESL coordinator and district librarian, Patrick Taylor. But these 2 students have put in a lot of work to become proficient English speakers, and we are so proud of their accomplishment to pass the WIDA test. So congratulations to Reagan and Asain. Forest Park Glow Game Night. Forest Park recently had a great turnout for their family Glow Game Night, where they used black lights to celebrate and have a great time together with their families, while doing some academic fun too. Here we have pictured Crescentwood Family STEM Night. Crescentwood's Family STEM Night gave students and their families a chance to try out science experiments, math games, art projects, including that they got to try a turn on the pottery wheel with Miss Bonet Lewis. So thank you, Forest Park and Crescentwood, for involving our families in the learning. East Point High School culinary students recently hosted the Rotary Club at our culinary kitchen at the East Point High School. Students hosted the club. They served a summer salad, beef barley soup, a spicy sausage ravioli, and a chocolate dessert. The Rotary Club loved being at the high school, and they were so impressed by the students' culinary skills. Also would like to compliment the Rotary because they're very interested in becoming a partner with our school district. Many of the members of Rotary are interested in volunteering their time, and a lot of our conversation at the luncheon focused on how community members can become more engaged in East Point High School and how we can involve that spirit of volunteerism in our community with our students as well. So thank you, Rotary, for coming to attend, and thank you, Chef Shoemake and the EHS Culinary Arts students for serving a fantastic lunch. Congratulations to Kalia Monroe. Kalia Monroe broke the school record in the discus last week at Centerline and set a new high mark in the shot put earlier this season at Warren Mott. Kalia's 42-foot 4 inches in the shot put is currently ranked in the top 10 in the state this season. Congratulations, Kalia Monroe, for 2 school records, 1 in shot put and 1 in discus. School readiness assessments. A group of central office team has been visiting schools and identifying schools' individual strengths, as well as the highest leverage big rocks that will help our schools continue to improve and ultimately have great student academic performance. In the review at the schools, 4 systems that research indicates rapidly improve schools and student outcomes are looked at: the culture and climate of the school, the talent management and the pipeline work, the instructional infrastructure, so that's the curriculum, the coaching, the professional learning, as well as school leadership. In this process, the team is taking a full day to spend the day with the staff at the school. We interview support staff, teacher leaders, instructional coaches, the principal, deans of students or assistant principals, and my favorite is we interview all of the kids, and we ask the students what they like about their schools, what they wish was different. And this then gives the team an opportunity to help to find the strengths in those 4 systems areas and also to identify those highest leverage big rocks that a school might need to live into to continue to raise their profile and ultimately support children learning. Our annual parent survey was emailed home last week to all East Point Community Schools families. We were particularly excited because we probably had about 30 responses immediately after we sent the survey out. If you have not already done so, we invite parents to please participate in our annual survey. We listen to the feedback and it will help us to improve our educational environments for all our students and our families. So thank you so much. These same perception data surveys are sent out to staff as well as students. And then our team will be providing that data back to the building principals who can then use it as they plan for the 24-25 school year. Upcoming events, we have Pleasant View's play of Annie at East Point High School Auditorium, May 22nd at 5 p.m. No school for students on Monday, May 27th. We will be closed for Memorial Day. Commencement is May 30th, 7 p.m. at Macomb Community College. And June 13th is the last day of school for students. It is a half day for students. All of our spring sports are now underway, but those schedules are changing regularly, so please check our school website for updated sports schedules. And next, I'd like to invite Valerie Jens, principal of East Point Early Learning Center, up to the podium, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about some of the great things that they are doing at East Point's Early Learning Center. And a coach who works with us from MSU and supports new practice teachers says, East Point Early Learning Center is the happiest place and it is a gem in the district. So Valerie Jens, principal of East Point Learning Center, is going to tell us a little bit more about what makes the Learning Center great. Welcome, Valerie Jens.
Thank you and good evening. Thank you for having me. First, I'm Valerie Jens. I've been here for 6 years at the Early Learning Center. It's been a fun 6 years. I'm just here to talk about some of the fun things that we're doing and the improvements that we are accomplishing over the year this year. So our first thing I'd like to touch on is the enrollment right now. Our ECS, which is Early Childhood Special Education, that program currently has 84 students enrolled, and they are coming still this year. We are getting more. Our 3-year-old pre-K program that we are funding with the ESSER funds, that one has 21 students in it right now. We did have 3 students drop because they moved. Can't hold them hostage, although we would have loved to keep them. And then our GSRP has 110 students currently. We did have 18 students that dropped. The majority of those 18 were move-outs. As for our special education classroom, we have grown from 5 to 7 sections. I say sections because they are half-day programs. So each section is a half day. So right now, we have 3.5 classrooms, which is the 7 sections. And then our staff retention I wanted to touch on. For our ECSC, we have a 67% staff retention. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they left the district. It just means that they are no longer at the Early Learning Center. So we do have some staff that have just shifted buildings in the district, but I wanted to count just for staying at the Early Learning Center. And then the 3-year-old program is 67% as well, same thing with that program. And then our GSRP program, we have had 100% retention with our staff from last year to this year. So for this next section is our common assessment data, which is what we assess our students on. Throughout the school year, from beginning to end, we do 4 different checkpoints where we check the progress in their work throughout the year. Our AM students in ECSE, they are our babies. They're our younger students. So they come to us as young as 2.5 years old. So they have different expectations than the PM students who are typically going into kindergarten the following year. That's why there are 2 different charts and different expectations. So a lot of the times, well, no, not a lot of time, all the times, in ECSE, all the students have IEPs. So they all have individual goals that they have to show their individual growth on. So the AM section, we typically do their growth on their individual goals, and then the afternoon, we track their growth on the things that they need when they're going into kindergarten. That doesn't mean that the AM kids are not exposed to that information. That's just the information that we're tracking to make sure that our students are meeting their goals in their IEPs. The next slide has our GSRP expectations and our 3-year-old expectations. So within our creative curriculum, there are standards, and the standards are different by age. So that's why there's 2 different charts, because there are different expectations by age. So as you can see, we have our letter ID is right up there above 90%. Our letter sounds for GSRP, it gets a little bit harder because you have to get up to 20 sounds in order to get that 100%. But we're at 78% for them, 100% for our 3-year-olds. So, which is only 0 to 3 sounds, but it's great for them. And the majority of those students are able to identify more than 3 sounds. So they're trucking along. Our number ID, that one gets a little confusing because they have to be able to identify 5 to 10 numbers between 1 and 10. So in order to count. So, and then for the 3s, it's identifying 3 to 5 numbers between 1 and 10. But we're right up there, above 80%. That's amazing. And then as far as counting goes, we're above 90%. The tricky one is our social emotional, especially for our 4-year-olds. So in each program, we decided on a different standard to track their growth on. For the 3-year-olds, we found it appropriate to make sure that they could follow limits and expectations. Understanding, this is a limit, this is the expectations that's being placed upon me, can I accomplish that? And right now, we have 96% of our students that are able to accomplish that. And then in our social emotional for our 4-year-olds, we picked a trickier one, which is solving social problems. That's tricky. I mean, it's tricky for adults. It's tricky for, everyone, right? So we are only at 59%, but we still have 4 weeks left of the school year to get that percent up higher. I want to touch on some of the parent engagement activities that we've had throughout the entire building. So in August and June, we do home visits. The teachers go to our parents' homes, meet with them, talk to them about the program, introduce themselves, build that relationship with the families to get them comfortable with our program. In September, we have an open house. Everybody's welcome to come in. They get to tour the building. They get to see where their kids are coming to school, and meet other staff that they don't meet in that home visit. October trunk or treat was a hit. We had, I think, 25 cars volunteer. I think that's what it was, 25 or 30, somewhere around there, volunteer to pass out the candy. And then we also did a field trip to the apple orchard. November, we have parent-teacher conferences, which for GSRP and our 3s, we make it required. As much as we possibly can. My teachers are expected to contact the families at least 3 times in order to set up a visit so that they can have that conversation with the parents about their child's progress. It's really important. December and February, our classrooms did individual activities where they invited families in to do, I don't want to say a holiday-based, but season-based activity in the classroom. And then in March, we have parent-teacher conferences again. Again, it's a requirement for the GSRP program. And with the 3s program being something that the district adopted, we just had them follow the exact same expectations as the GSRP program. April and May, we did donuts with grown-ups with ECS and the 3s program. We wanted to get the parents to come in and meet the possible teachers that they could have for their students the next year. So they mingled a little bit in the playground and had some fun, and it was great seeing the parents talk to each other. So those relationships we're building as well. The last couple things that we have coming up is our flower planting day. This will be our 3rd year doing it. The families come in on a schedule, they plant flowers around the building, make it pretty, and we also had the ECSE field trip to Belle Isle. They went to Belle Isle at the beginning of this month. And then June, our end-year celebration, which is on the 6th of June from 10 to 2. Anyone wants to come, you're more than welcome. We're gonna have food, lots of fun. You are welcome to come. So it's, and we have farm animals too, and the kids love that. So those are some family events that we have for parent engagement. And then something that ECSE, our Early Childhood Special Education Program, put on this year was parent education events. So they invited families to come in to teach them about the importance of reading to your child, having different sensory strategies that they can use at home for their children, and behavior strategies as well. They talked, our speech teacher, Mrs. Bogle, she talked about pre-linguistic skills and how to use the core board at home, which is something that's used in ECSE. It's a strategy that's used for students that are non-speaking to point out what they need on a board instead of, because they can't tell you. And then the last thing was autism awareness, and we had 2 parents come in and speak to other parents about their children and how they are able to work with them at home. And then the last slide that I have here are just some celebrations, some pictures that I had that I wanted to share. I love the Santa picture. For those of you who don't know, that's Danny Latham. He does a great job, comes into the building, and he plays that role the best that he possibly can. He absolutely loves it. In the middle there with the spoon in the mouth, that was their Thanksgiving dinner that they hosted. And then on the top and on the side there to the right, we have some pictures from our trunk or treat. And then on the bottom was the gingerbread house making at, in the winter during Christmas time. So those are the things that we did, and we have so much fun at the Early Learning Center. We really do. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say, I only hear good things about the Early Learning Center, so y'all are doing great things over there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We love it.
I just wanted to say, me and John watch the kids every day.
Yeah.
We call it the march. They go from door to the playground. But yeah, it's fabulous over there.
Thank you.
And you got Miss Connie. I
Yes.
see.
Miss Connie's here.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Great job.
Thank you.
We don't hear nothing but great things, never been over there, but,
Well, come on over anytime.
I've been over there once.
Well, come to field day and have some fun with us.
But anytime we're engaged in a conversation, it's all five, so I just want to mention that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, first off, you had one slide up there that said something about a child was able to follow a single direction.
Yes.
After
Following
having-
limits and
After raising a few kids, it's incredible how much of a milestone that actually is when you can tell your child to do something just one direction and they can actually do it. So if you ask them to put their shoes away, by the time they walk over to their shoes, they haven't forgotten to what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So, that is a milestone. And then I didn't see, does it fall under another category as far as your schedule, the petting zoo? I mean,
Oh.
because, is that fun and field day?
It will be on field day, and it will be there the
Okay.
whole time, from 10 to 2. My sister is the one that brings the animals. She has a farm.
Yeah,
and so
because
she
I
brings the
don't
animals.
think I saw that up there, but that is a fabulous thing to see. They actually
Yes.
bring in some animals for the kids that are at the Early Learning Center for them to go out and visit with the animals and interact with the animals. It was kind of cool.
There's also a number of ducks and chickens hatching over at the Early Learning
Yes, I did
Center
not
as
put
well
those pictures
right
in.
now. So that Val's family has helped to provide eggs, and the kids have been, and incubators, and the students at the ELC and the superintendent are really excited to go and watch what's happening with the eggs. So
Yes.
thank you, Valerie, for everything that you have done. If the board does know, but I'd just like to remind again that we started with 2 GSRP classrooms about 6 years ago.
Yes.
And so now we are planning for next year, 7
9?
4-day a week.
Oh, yes.
Classrooms, and then we are gonna be piloting 2 5-day-a-week GSRP classrooms. The building also hosts Brainiacs, which is a daycare for before and after school care for not only our students and families to take and to use, but also for other people. And then we host 3 Head Start classrooms at our Early Learning Center as well.
Yep.
So it's really it's grown from 2 GSRP classrooms to really being the hub of early learning in our community. And we are well-respected, and that is a tribute to Valerie Jens and her leadership of the Early Learning Center. It's a very well-respected program throughout the county. So congratulations to
Thank
you
you.
and your staff, Valerie. And I believe a few of you are participating in this Saturday
Is that the 18th?
is Hooray
Yes.
for GSRP.
Yes.
And
Hooray for pre-K.
Hooray for pre-K, and you want to tell the audience a little bit more about what's happening this Saturday?
Sure, we'll be at the ISD. All of the preschool programs in the county will have tables set up at the Macomb ISD to welcome families to come in and enroll their students into a GSRP program in their area. We will be there from 10 to 2 with tables, and there will be a mock preschool classroom as well, so parents can go in and visit and kind of do like a day in the life of a preschooler, and they get to see the different parts of the day for what happens in the classroom.
And I believe our teachers were
Yes,
selected.
four-
to be
four-
The teachers.
4 of our teachers were
Were
selected.
selected to
Yes.
help to run those because of what they do here for us at our Early Learning Center.
Yes.
So, Congratulations and hooray for pre-K.
Thank you.
I know that you'll represent us well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. That concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
I just wanted to correct you on one thing too. You said that that young lady broke a school record. If I'm not mistaken, I think she kind of crushed it.
Yes, she did.
She did.
I think she crushed it. She went from 42 feet to 49 feet roughly, something like that, close to that. Is that about right, Lincoln?
47?
47? But I mean, she crushed it by feet.
37 to 42. It's substantial.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't just like she beat a record by a couple inches. She beat it by feet. By feet. Because I only corrected you because you told me earlier that she crushed a record, and then now you said she broke a record. That's all. You having fun down there?
Yes, we are, yes, we are.
Next, we have hearing of the public. We'll open that up at 7 o'clock. Does anyone wish to be heard? Yes, sir. I got to explain the rules to you, do you know? Okay, thank you.
Lincoln Stocks, EFE President, good evening, Board, Superintendent, and Board President. First off, Teacher Appreciation Week, I want to publicly congratulate and thank all of our staff for the wonderful work that they do.
Is the microphone on,
Is your
Lincoln?
microphone on? Are you
In the middle
doing
there.
your job? Your microphone on?
Okay, can I start again there? All right. Lincoln Stocks, EFE President. Once again, welcome to all you guys. Thank you for having me up here. I wanted to congratulate my teachers and recognize them for Teacher Appreciation Week. Our staff does a wonderful job. It's a very difficult work that we all do, and I can't tell you how much the EFE appreciates the efforts that they have to do out there. I want to congratulate the basketball team. They had a great season. Coach Rayleigh and the rest of them represented us well when they were out there, and that district championship is always difficult to come. Kalia Monroe, I don't know where she was for 35 years. I taught track, but Courtney Terrell is the girl that held both of those records before. Of course, you know, she's went to MSU and was in pre-med. I don't know how far she's gone so far, but what a wonderful person she was and how well she represented our district. That 129 is fairly close to her record, but the 42-foot toss was a big toss. There's not many around here that do that, so that's going to vie for a state championship, and that's fantastic for her. I want to take a second to congratulate the seniors. They're going to be graduating. They've worked hard, and I may not get a chance to see them again until we go to graduation, so for that. And then the last thing that brings me here, it was something that caught my eye and concerned me on a post that was on Facebook this week. One of my teachers brought it to me, and I took a look at it. And I want to start by, I understand and recognize the need for open public discourse for a lot of different things, and the need to be able to express how we feel in an open manner. But the particular post by a member of our board was sort of a fishing expedition targeting the principal at the high school, asking for anybody that's got problems, bring them in. As a staff member at the high school and as a leader of the teachers union, the principal and I don't see eye to eye all the time, and my teachers have a problem with that, with the principal or anybody there. They come to me and we hash out our problems, and sometimes those are congenial conversations and sometimes they're not, but they're never a public flogging, and they're never something that goes out there because I never know exactly what both sides of the story are. On this particular issue, garnered a response back that indicated the word predator was involved there. And I was taken back. Had that been one of my teachers that had that word attached to them for no apparent reason, I would have brought my lawyer here right now to sue this district for libel. That was inappropriate, it was unprofessional, and it's not the way we should do business in this district. It's not my union, but it is my district, and we cannot treat our employees in that manner. If we have a problem with a particular employee, there are protocols that we go through that we would all appreciate we follow. And if something comes out and it has to be made public, because that's appropriate, then that's what should happen. But the manner in which this happened was simply a fishing expedition that brought about a great deal of potential embarrassment, and I think has exposed the district to some potential problems. I think that we need to do better. We need to prevent hostility and a hostile working environment that we all deal with. This is a difficult job, and that was not inappropriate and unfair to the person that was there. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Does anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close hearing of the public at 7:05. Next, we go on to the next item. Discussion action, Board of Education, MISD budget resolution. I would move the board approve the MISD budget resolution as presented.
Support.
I've only got one statement. I was kind of surprised when this was on the agenda because I went there and they asked us at the presentation that they want a quorum of boards there in order to hold that meeting. And then they all ask us if we approve the budget there, and we all vote and say, yes, we approve the budget there, but yet we all have to take it back and approve it individually at our own individual boards once again. So all I need to, long story short, is somebody else, make sure you're prepared to go to that meeting next year, please, because I'm the type of person, I don't like doing things twice. So I went there and I approved it once, and then I'm coming here and I have to approve it again. Please call the vote. Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford, Mrs. Richardson, and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Okay, next we have business operations, recommendation for approval, summer 2024 construction. Friendly business manager.
Good evening. This evening, we have a request for award of a contract for site work at Forest Park Elementary. If you've ever been to Forest Park, we have flooding that's near the school, like there's a grassy area that's right up to the school, and water is seeping into the foundation, and it's loosening up some of the floor tiles in the building. And the parking lot's also in bad shape, so this was identified as part of the bond scope, and we're hoping to fit it into this summer's construction schedule. So we put the proposal out for bid. There was 4 contractors that responded. The low bidder actually missed some scope, so he was disqualified. So we went to the next low bidder and found that his bid met all the specifications. And there's a base bid and then there's an alternate. There was actually 3 alternates that were bid out. We're gonna go with one alternate only, which is for the main parking lot area. They have to excavate down, and once they get to a certain number of feet below, they test the soil into compaction. And if it meets the test, then they proceed. But if it doesn't meet the test, they have to do further excavation and fill it in with gravel until they get a certain compaction and firmness in that under the soil there. So that's what the one alternate is for. So with the bid, the base bid is $792,560. Alternate number 3, which I just described, is $113,244 for a total contract of $905,804. We're also recommending a 10% contingency in the event they find something else so that they can proceed with it and construction doesn't have to halt, for $90,580. If that contingency is not used, the money stays with the district. So the total project award is $966,384. Any questions?
Rob? Was there a runoff located somewhere? I think you probably already answered that question, but
Like there's
some type of water runoff in another area?
yeah, so like where it's pooling, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pooling right up against the building, like there's this grass area where like it's like in an L shape there. And the water actually, you can see it pooling for several days at a time. So they're gonna, put the underground drainage in, and they're gonna pitch the building so that the water runs away from the building.
With the I always ask about the contingency.
Yeah.
With the contingency, is that allow for the rocks to be put, or just in case if it's not, the dirt is not good?
That is alternate number 3.
That's the alternate, okay.
Right.
Okay,
Contingency is just for anything else they may find.
okay.
The other 2 alternates, just FYI, was like a parking, like a drop-off lane on Forest, and then I forget the other street. The other side of the building has a street, with a drop-off lane also. And we're going to plan for next summer to do that.
Well, I was about to say they're gonna add the drop-off lane?
Yeah. So there wasn't enough time, we felt, to get all 3 things done in one construction season, so that's why it's pushing to next year. So we'll probably be back in October, November with bid results for that, for the board to approve.
I got a question. Where the water is pooling, is that contributed also to the downspouts being misplaced or replaced?
Well,
or
it
is all of
could
that
push up.
gonna
I
be-
think sometimes that's gets knocked off, like when they cut the grass. And sometimes just because it sinks by there, it just doesn't pitch right. At one time it was probably good, but now it just flows right back, the water into the building.
So
under
will
the
that,
building.
will that just
That'll be addressed.
resurfacing?
Yeah.
Will all that be addressed?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I would move that the board approve the summer 2024 construction for Forest Park Elementary site improvements as presented.
Support.
I just have one comment. This is almost $1 million, and I want just people to be aware, the public, of how much these items do cost. This is one parking lot at one elementary. We have 4 elementaries, a learning center, a middle school, and a high school. So I just want people to be aware that as we go through this process of trying to improve our buildings, it is not cheap.
Right.
Okay?
It's not.
That's it. Anything else? Please call the vote.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Okay. Next item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, athletics. Oh. We have a request for overnight field trip. You should be smiling from ear to ear.
I am. I came here to support the basketball team, so I wasn't quite prepared to be asking for the overnight field trip. So instead of being prepared for anything, I came prepared for nothing. So we are requesting, though, an overnight field trip for Kalia Monroe in support of her attempt to achieve that state championship in the shot put as well as the discus. She has since thrown a 42 feet 7 inches, so she bumped that record up just a little bit. If I remember correctly off the top of my head, state track finals are June 1st, so we would be seeking overnight field trip for May 31st. The state finals are in Hamilton, Michigan, which is by Holland, about a 3-hour drive from here. With track meet starting 9 in the morning, that's a bit of a drive coming in the morning, so we would like to send her the night before, along with Coach's chaperone. Coach has since requested a second night for the field trip under the reasoning for safety coming back home. I know last time I went to a state championship, it was about 5 o'clock before we were leaving the track. And that's another 3-hour drive home after being out in the sun all day. So the coach has asked for the second night and looking to come back on Sunday.
I make that motion that we approve that.
Okay, you got it right now.
Nah, like,
Support.
Well, I have a question. Are all the qualifications for that state tournament done?
No,
So potentially, we could have more athletes.
we could potentially have more
Okay,
qualified.
so can we
yes.
include it?
Can we include them?
In that motion, can we include that any other potential athletes would be included?
Yes, that'd
Any
be great.
potential athletes be included in that motion? Yes.
Yes.
Support. Oh, more support.
Well, she's already qualified with her
think-
toss. But they still have other events going on where other
Right.
people could
No, I
qualify.
get it. That's what I was thinking too, but, okay. So.
Yes.
You want to call a vote, please?
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mrs. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford? Yes. Mrs. Richardson?
Yes.
I'll be sure to include any updates to the Board of Education if any few other athletes qualify, and we appreciate your support. Mr. Ball,
Thank you very
I was
much.
going to cover this for you, but we're glad that you were here to talk about
Oh, I just
Pollyanna
assumed, I'm
firsthand.
sorry. I saw him here.
It's just fine.
It's out the way now.
Okay, next we have curriculum, 2024-25 district calendar.
All right, good evening, Board of Education and Community. Tonight, we are seeking approval for our 24-25 school calendar. The District Calendar Committee began meeting in March of this year. It consisted of union representation from administration, teachers, central office, and secretaries from each building. So we had a really good group of individuals working on this. We conducted multiple in-person meetings that included a review of our own data, what days were highly attended, not attended, patterns that may emerge. We looked at the union contract requirements, the Macomb County Common Calendar, and pupil accounting requirements. We also considered the testing windows, which have a big influence on our instructional days. We worked around professional learning and tried to leverage our days throughout the year in times when we knew teachers really needed the most support. In addition to the amount of curriculum we're bringing on, we're also doing a really big push on instructional strategies and focusing on classroom instruction that works. So we identified some times throughout the year when those pieces really, increase and we need to be supporting our staff. Voting days, conferences, curriculum nights, and then our UVA partnership all played a role in how this ended up working out. We also have a waiver from the MDE to start before Labor Day. So that brings us to a start date of August 26th. Due to that waiver being good for another year, we will discuss applying for that when it expires. I want to thank the calendar team who was made up of individuals from across the district: Alex Turner, Laura Byrne, Catherine Davis, Mary Jane Sonk, Connie Romer, Tricia Dickens, Lisa Petrella, Heather Agueros, Julie Piper, Nancy Buccelli, Heather Turner, Heather Rogers, Julie Alspa, and Shantae and Christina Govan. So those individuals met over the last few months, and here's our product. So tonight, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but we will be seeking approval.
I have a question. The yellow, is that PE days?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
And then, of course, the blue is big.
Blue are the days off.
Days off.
Yep, no students, no staff.
I make a motion for that because my birthday week is off in March.
Wait a minute.
And I should note too, we did actually leave a cushion of a PD day. And that was intentional. We're actually allowed an additional day, but we did leave that open, just to ensure that we reach our minutes and hours, and that we can build it in as needed, should our time allow for it.
Dr. Early made a motion. Is there a second?
Support.
She stole my question. I was going to ask what the colors meant, but
Yeah, I figured it out because. of
now I
Christmas.
understand. I mean, I knew that purple on the 26th was a special day.
The other piece of note for our families to be aware of is we are continuing our late start Wednesdays, as that is professional learning or teacher collaborative learning in the PLCs. So we will continue with that practice. So is there anything else that the board has questions about? Okay, great, thank you.
I just have a question. Are the colors going to be on that
calendar so that
Yeah.
for those who do
Yeah.
not know, we can see what they are.
Correct, and there's actually a key below it, so that was not
Yeah.
on there. Yeah,
Unfortunately,
there
I
we
can't
go.
fit the full
Yeah.
screen version, but.
So then we
um,
laid it out.
There's also the written version of those times off, and this is not the public polished version yet. This was our draft to bring to the board. Once the board takes action and approves it, we will get a more polished version of the calendar out.
Please call a vote.
Okay, we have Dr. Hurley.
Yes.
I think I seconded, didn't I?
Oh,
No,
Mr.
Robert did.
Roscoe, okay.
Robert did.
Okay. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Okay, I thirded, yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 7:20.
This is an early one.